Hello, everyone. It's your boy Agape. Um, it's my first time doing this. Gonna start trying to do this more often. You know, just talking about issues. That are relevant to individual life, or just possibly something that you're going through that you know could help encourage you a little bit more. Um, some of the topics that I'm going to speak about are going to be both controversial or you know, more so the elephant in the room, you know. Um, and if you agree, if you agree, then I would encourage you to leave a comment or post your opinion at the bottom. Like it, share it, repost. And if you don't agree, also tell me why you wouldn't agree. Okay. So today I was talking with somebody, and um, important person in my life, and we were just speaking about relationships and coexisting in a relationship with somebody that you care about. Now, we brought up the point that you know relationships have multiple areas of concern. you know and I'll just speak from the guy's aspect, or the guy's point of view, because I'm a guy. you know Personally, I feel like our generation has been saturated with, you know, entertainment, music, TV shows, and it has skewed the idea and the perception and perspective that a guy should have in a relationship. I don't feel like it's just a physical thing, or just a mental thing. There are many, many fields in a relationship that require a lot of attention. I also feel that a lot of guys in relationships have tethered more toward the physical aspect of a relationship. If you cannot care for a woman's mind, if you cannot care for her spirit, if you cannot care for her heart, then how can you care for her body? I also feel like a lot of it is has to do with a personal idea. Okay, now many times when I talk to people in regards to relationships, I bring up this point right here. Okay, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in a relationship, okay, if you're making sure that you're at 100%, if you're making sure that you're doing your best, okay, when it comes to guys, if you're making sure, and when I speak, I'm speaking, um you know in reference to being with somebody in hopes for marriage, because I know at my age, which is I'm 23 right now, going on 24, the Lord says the same. At my age, you shouldn't be wasting your time on nights, just booty calls, smashing and dashing. You should be dating or courting somebody in hopes for marriage, in hopes that this will be the person that you want to spend your forever with. Now, if you're going to be doing that, then, in marriage, you're supposed to be loving your wife like Christ loved the church, you know. And I know a lot of people aren't spiritual, they're not into their word, they don't read their Bible, okay? So, just in a natural aspect, okay, when you see a woman, when you're dealing with a woman, you can't just deal with her as if she's your property, okay? Um, she's not your property. Okay, even when you get married, you belong to that person in love. Okay, now when you get married, it's not just a contract. Okay, you're both making an agreement before yourselves and before God that this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Okay, and I'm going to do everything that I can to see that this person enjoys life to its fullest. Now, is every day going to be peaches and cream? Absolutely not. Okay. Now, are you going to wake up every morning and, you know, absolutely adore the person that you're with? I would hope you would. But just the reality of life is that you're not going to always agree with, the person that you're with. You're not going to always see eye to eye. But it's love. Now, this is just my opinion. I feel like it's love that is the ultimate bond between you and the person that you're with. Okay? That's the greatest of all things when it comes to us being humans, is finding somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with, somebody that ultimately you're willing to compromise with, ultimately that you're willing to hang up your selfishness, that you're willing to, make the difference in your life, and you're willing to impart from your normal routine. Okay? And you begin to develop an awareness for that person's ideas and input. You begin to develop a sense of, I want your input, because ultimately what you feel is going to affect me. Because if I'm not worried about how you feel, you could be looking outside of the situation, which we're supposed to do in relationships for one another, and in turn could be realizing something that ultimately could help me as a man grow, or help our relationship as a union to grow stronger. I personally feel like our generation has tainted the idea of being in a relationship in the first place. A lack of love for ourselves as individuals, a lack of love for where we come from, you know. And it's not about race. I don't want, anybody to feel like this is impartial to what your skin color is. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact of you came from somewhere. And even if you look at the standard of relationships going all the way back, you'll see that in being bound to somebody in love always carried a certain level of honor, This is my spouse. This is the person I love. Even in today's time, it's more of a booty call, on call, than it is a union of two people's hearts. The flesh being the flesh of somebody's flesh and the bone of somebody's bone. When you become sexually involved with somebody, you're imparting a piece of yourself with that person. That is the closest you can come to somebody, is when you're in a situation that's sexual. That is the closest that you will be to somebody. So it's very vital that you don't just take that, and it's very vital that you don't play it off as just being an activity of pleasure. That's an intimate experience. That's providing pleasure for somebody that you care about, giving yourself to somebody that you care about, giving what you are and who you are to somebody that you care about. That's your heritage, okay? That's your bloodline. You have a baby with somebody, you're giving them a piece of your bloodline. That's with them. That child that woman carries. That is a piece of who you are, and forever will be who you are. That child will forever be who you are. And it should be conducted out of love. Now, this is not a bash to anybody who has had a child out of marriage or who wants to have a child out of marriage. Everybody has their own ideas on, relationships and childbirth. And I'm nobody to tell you that you're incorrect. These are simply my ideas and my opinions when it comes to relationships, procreation, i.e., Now back to the relationship part of the whole situation. I feel like it is every man's job to make a woman feel special, to make her feel like there is nothing else in this world. Nothing else in this world. Notice I said in this world, okay? Because, of course, with me, and a lot of people, God will always come first. But there's nothing else in this world that's more important. You should protect, uplift, encourage, strengthen, your spouse. as it pertains to the man's actions in a relationship. That is, I feel like that idea has been abandoned, and it's no longer about protecting, loving, cherishing, uplifting, and it's become a territorial situation. It's become, you belong to me because you're mine. Your body belongs to me because I'm your boyfriend. Even the root of that word, if you break that down, boy friend, a boy that's a friend, girl friend, a girl that's a friend. This is how I feel our ideas of relationships have been tainted. The whole dating perspective has been completely excluded from relationships. Now it's, I like you, you're my girlfriend, we're together, you can't talk to anybody else, you can't see anybody else. When courting is, dating is, I find you attractive, I see characteristics inside of you or that are about you. I like your personality, and I want to see if you're somebody that I could settle with, that I could see myself being with for the rest of my life. Finding who you are in a relationship. It's not just always about the other person. Finding who you are in a relationship. Finding how you will act with different type of personalities. Seeing how that would, make or break you with different personalities. Because ultimately, the more that you learn about yourself, the better off you'll be in a relationship. If you can't, if you're automatically going past courting, hopping straight into the sack, then how do you know how you're going to be able to interact? What are you learning about yourself? You're skipping a whole part of the process in between getting to know somebody and giving who you are to somebody. You're skipping that whole process. So you don't know. So then you end up marrying somebody. And it's based off of a sexual encounter as opposed to a who you are encounter. How I, accent you. How instead of how I better you, instead of how you better me, instead of how we are together. I mean, the intimate portion of a relationship, I'm not saying should be excused, and I'm not saying you should alienate that part of a relationship, because that's embedded in our DNA to be, in our DNA to be, intimate, to be, emotional. It's who we are as people. It's natural. I'm not saying feel weird because somebody that you're interested in, you've developed feelings of intimacy to the point to where you want to take it further than just simple interaction. But you do have to keep in mind, as I stated previously in this video, that every time you lay down with somebody, you're giving a part of yourself. Every time. Just a thought. Let's just play with a concept here, okay? Let's say every time that you slept with somebody, okay? Every time you slept with somebody, you lost a piece of your heart. Every time. I want whoever you are, wherever you are watching this, think about this. How much of your heart would be left right now? How much of your heart would be left to give to somebody who you really care about, whether it's in the future or whether it's in present times? And sometimes you wonder why the person that you're with, why you just can't seem to get along, or it just seems not to be working right, or you just can't seem to see eye to eye, or it seems like he doesn't love you, or it seems like she doesn't love you, or it seems like he doesn't care enough, or she doesn't care enough, or she just doesn't get it, or she's emotionally detached, he's emotionally detached, It just seems like, he used to be, care for me, or she used to care for me. It just seems like he's not or she's not the same person. You've given so much of yourself away to so many people that what do you have to give to the person that you really love? That's where God comes in. He begins to mend those places in your heart that you've given away and restore you back to who you were when you first started loving. And that's my belief. Okay? Now, like I said, even in the natural, aspect, you have to get to a point within yourself where you can start loving yourself, where you can start developing an emotional attachment to yourself. And that's where the healing process begins. You've given so much of your love away, so much of who you are away to other people. You don't leave none for yourself. You don't leave no love for you to have for yourself. And that could very well be the problem. No, he's not always cheating on you, and no, she's not always cheating on you. Your idea of a relationship has been tainted. You begin to not even understand what it is to coexist with somebody on an intimate level because you have donated so much of who you are to other people. Is it over? No. Am I bashing you? No. This is just more like a public service announcement. Okay? Begin to love yourself. These are things that I deal with myself. I'm not just telling you this because I have no idea about it. This is an issue that I've dealt with myself. Once you start to really look in the mirror and start loving who you are as a person, not worried about that other person. When you start loving you, you could begin to love. Maybe the love that you're giving is just not that potent. Maybe you haven't took a step back to say, let me reflect on my past and see what part I've played in a relationship not working. Once you begin to do that, you'll start seeing things. You'll start noticing things about yourself. So easily we point the finger. And it might be that person. It might be your spouse. They could have given so much of their love away that they're trying to learn how to relove again. Their love tank could be empty, and you just might be what fills it up again. A lot of it is patience. Not just for the other person, but patience for yourself. Sometimes we see where we want to be in a relationship. I see all these posts, relationship goals. I think a major relationship goal is not for red bottoms, is not for matching Timbs. I think a major relationship goal should just be loving yourself. Because when you love yourself, then you have a lot of love. And then you can in turn start giving some of that love. You can't be so focused on the person that you're with that you forget about yourself. Now, I'm not saying be selfish. That is not what I'm trying to portray. That is not the basis of this message. That is not the foundation of my speech. What I am saying is that loving you gives you room to love other people. Going to the root of your hurting, going to the root of, your sorrow, and starting to deal with that. And that can get you far. Like I mentioned, the social media. Not just social media, but the internet, the radio, music, TV has painted this picture of what a relationship should be. Being promiscuous is just the thing to do these days. You hear it in songs. The idea of a foundation of a home has left our generation. personally I feel. Now there's people out there who still exercise the same morals in a relationship that were exercised with our ancestors, you know. But it's a lot of us, at times me included, who have abandoned the idea of a solid relationship outside of sexual activity. Creating a foundation of a relationship based on sex, I don't think is ever good. Personally, just me. You know, again, I said, you may not agree, with a lot of the things that I've said. I'm always open for learning. Always. I'm always open for learning. I'm always open for, having a different outlook. If you feel like anything that I've said is incorrect in any manner, or, you don't agree, I encourage you. Leave a comment, tell me why you feel it's incorrect. You know, like I said, this is my very first time doing this. I'll probably try to upload something at least once a day or a few times out of the week. Again, that's AGA3 at the end. Also do music. You could go on YouTube, all caps, AGAPE track 1. It's my first music video. Go to heartsoldiers.com and get the album. Have some new music coming soon. Get involved with me here. Let's start a change. Let's spark a change, spark a difference. Start sparking thought. Try to do something different for a change. Apparently, what we're doing is not working. If 50% of marriages fail, something is awfully wrong. And it doesn't start once you say I do. It starts now, way before I do. It starts when you meet that person. The road that you take to get to marriage. So, thank you for your time. If you've actually took 22 minutes out of your day to hear me out, I appreciate you. I love you. I hope your day goes well. God bless.